There we go. We're live. Okay. Morning, everyone. Thanks for showing up today. If you don't know what this is the Ask the Agent event. Or once a month, we ask one of our any agent to come on in. But today we have Rebecca Permack of Permack and Associates, and she's going to be talking about her career and fielding any questions you have about what brought her success, from her team to her pre-sales to everything she does. And it's a good learning opportunity for you. So, Rebecca Permack.
Okay, so where to start? I guess I'll give you a little background on myself and a little intro on how I got into the industry, and then honestly, like, I would rather other questions than just keep talking. I was a temp. I lived in France for a year as an au pair, and I came back to BC not really knowing what I wanted to do, and I started temping, and I ended up temping for a week in a commercial real estate office, and someone came up to me that week and said, "Oh, you're the new lifer," and I was like, "No, I'm only here for a week." And then he took me out for lunch every year for the next 7 years and said, "Only a week, eh?" And I never left, and I was fortunate enough to be a sales assistant for one of the #1 investment brokers in the city, and he paid for me to do the Urban Land Economics program at UBC while I was working full-time. So when I graduated with my Urban Land diploma, I was kind of looking around and going, okay, I go get coffees. Well, they pitched the whole proposal that I just wrote. What's wrong with this picture? And so I decided to do a little brief 6-month stint in PR, which was not my jam. And I wanted to come back to that real estate world that I knew and loved so much. So maybe real estate, and I just had my 10-year anniversary in February. So haven't looked back since then. First year was brutal. I got licensed in February, and in May I shattered my collarbone, and I was super high and on the couch, unable to move for months because I didn't even have surgery until September. So Corey would drive me to open houses with my arm in a sling, and people go to shake my hand, and I just high-five everyone. And you just kind of start working. And the first year I was negative $24,000, I think my tax return was, and then the next year I was President's Gold. So we kind of continued climbing from there. And last year and a bit ago, we started Permack and Associates, so we built a team. We have 2 licensed agents plus myself now, so 3 of us, plus a full-time client care specialist and a full-time in-house marketing and business development manager. I don't know, Corey has about 100 titles. As my husband works with us full-time, as you guys can maybe see, he's in the background taking pictures right now. And so that's me. So here we are, 10 years later, completely different world from being someone's sales assistant. Kind of gone through it. I mean, the second year in real estate, 2008, was like the slowest market anyone's ever seen in a very long time when I started. So I've kind of lived through what you guys are living through now. One cycle. This one's a little rougher, I have to admit. But it changes. It's a cycle. They call it a cycle for a reason. So make sure it will change, and it will be awesome. So does anyone have any questions for me? Hi, Dan. Thanks.
When and how did you identify Burke Mountain as being an area that you wanted to own, and how did you come to own it?
Well, it was very, very new. So I took some clients out to look at a show home. It's kind of funny. They had been there 10 times, as clients do. They go to show homes. They knew everything about these homes, and they said, "Rebecca, we want to buy this house. Will you come? Let's start your commission." And so I went. I fell in love. I went home. I told Corey about this house because we had been looking in East Van. We were living in Burnaby. We were looking at garbage, gross, asbestos-filled bungalows in East Van for kind of the same money. And I made him come with me to do a big showing because it was Craigslist. I was just not comfortable. And I said, "Oh, let's go look at this show home." And the next day we bought a house. Didn't look at a house. And so we were planning our move to Burke Mountain, and what do we do? And I got some advice from a friend. He said, "You need a niche website. You need a niche site." I thought, oh, Burke Mountain was so young and so green, and not a lot of business going on there. There weren't sales. There were no houses yet, so it was only buyers. And so I invested that $2,500, and he built the BurkeMountainHomes.com first website for me with the logo, and we thought we were like, oh. And I just poured money into that for 5 years. Like, there was no turnover on Bird Mountain for 5 years. Why would there be? There's only people buying. They're buying a house that is being built the next year. So it's very, very little turnover, but I stuck with it. And then when things started to turn around and actually sell, because now it's, the 5-year cycle, everyone had been getting my flyers for 5 years. And I have seen realtors come and go that try farming for 6 months. They tried to do my pumpkin giveaway event on the same day at the same park. Different realtor, different brokerage. Tried to do this, and nobody's ever kind of stuck it out. There's very, very few realtors that have been as consistent as I have in that area, and it's all about consistency when you're farming. Like, it's not a 12-month process. It's not 6 months. It's not 18 months. It's like a very long time, and especially if you're looking at neighborhoods that are already sort of established. Like, I jumped in before anyone even kind of realized Burke Mountain was going to be Burke Mountain, and I think we own upwards of 50 domains now, so that they all, it's more like preventative at this point as well, because someone once said to me, it's not the first person that goes into that market, it's the fourth or the fifth one that's going to have the traction. But I wanted to prove them wrong, and so I want to be the first one and stay at the top. So yeah, it's a long game if you want to farm an area, for sure. You've got to really be willing to put the money out and the time and effort and create that visibility for yourself in the area.
You said 5 years?
Took me, no, I've been on there for 10 years now, but it took 5 before I saw that, like, actual payback. And I do so everybody knows the Morris Marketing, the preferred client update. You guys have seen that. So they have another program. It's a geographic farming one called the Community Market Update. And if you have that geographic area, they'll lock all the other realtors out of that area. So my problem was I went to a client's house and I was doing a preferred client update. And they, just for fun, had like 6 months laid on their counter from 6 different realtors, and they were all identical reports. And so like, look, we're everyone's preferred client. Isn't this hilarious? And I was horrified. And I canceled it right there, because realtors were signing people up that they met once at an open house and putting them on their preferred client update. And I don't think that was the purpose behind it. Morris is happy to take your money. So I put my money into the community market update, because no other realtor could send that same report to those same homes. And that report has grown from like $300 a month to $1,200 a month now for me. Because Burke Mountain keeps growing and the mail lots keep growing, and so I just keep paying. And yeah, but it's been the thing that has kept me top of mind for sellers, because buyers look online. Sellers, I mean, yes, they're looking online, but they're also looking at what they get in their mailbox. And for me, the farm area is more like, the goal is to be the Coca-Cola of Burke Mountain. So it's they drive home and they drive by my bus benches, and then they get their mail and they get my flyer and they get the community market report, and then they see my name, because we started our Burke Mountain community group that has over 4,500 members now, so we're very active in that group. And then they get my invite to the Easter egg hunt for 1,200 kids, and then they come and get a free pumpkin. And then when I go door knocking, they're like, oh my God, you're Rebecca, because I see your stuff all the time, and they know who I am, so it's a lot easier as well. I've created this kind of world where people already know who I am before I knock on the door, and makes door knocking way easier. Makes like talking to people way easier, because I've got this established reputation that I know they're right. I know what I'm talking about. They all feel like they know me, even though we've never met. And it's taken a very long time. I mean, it's 10 years now. But it works if you take the time, for sure. Anyone else? I will say about farming, though, because I know that everybody, people think, oh, Burke Mountain, Rebecca, Burke Mountain. But I was starting to lose business, because I would have friends and clients that say, oh, well, I thought you only worked on Burke Mountain, so I didn't call you for my Burnaby condo. And I'm like, what? No, Burke Mountain is about 50% of my business, because I sometimes will sell their home and help them buy on Burke Mountain, or I'm selling them out of Burke Mountain and they're moving to Meadows or Maple Ridge or out of area, something like that. And so that was one of the reasons we started Permack & Associates, because I wanted people to know that I'm not just Burke Mountain, because I was suffering when the single-family home market was completely dead and condos were the only thing selling. There's no condos on Burke Mountain, so I wasn't doing any business, and I'm watching my peers like this new condo and this listing, and they're still bread and butter getting those deals done, and yes, the single family homes on Burke have a bigger price point, therefore a bigger commission, but if they're not selling, you're getting zero. So we kind of moved Burke Mountain Homes under the Permack and Associates umbrella, so they can say that, you know, we work the Tri-Cities and we go out to Pitt Meadows and Maple Ridge. I grew up in Maple Ridge, so I know it. And it's made a huge difference. It's made a difference for the team to be able to, you know, meet clients and have the support and have the market knowledge on our website and the information so that they look like they are really familiar with these areas as well, which they are, but it's different than if, you know, I'm going to East Van to talk to someone about a listing or Burnaby and I hand them a Burke Mountain Homes card. They're like, Burke Mountain, where's that? So we really wanted to kind of, you know, I still farm that aggressively. I still specialize there. Everything that's on Burke Mountain is Burke Mountain Homes focused, but right now allows us the opportunity to be a little more general in our specialization so that, you know, we can still pick up that business when other areas are hot. Poco condos are flying. I could try and, you know, do some more work in there and not try to, it doesn't look so much like I'm going out of my area to sell a condo somewhere. So that's been a big change for me as well. Yeah. So nice.
Do you do coaching and who?
Yes, I do. Actually, so I talked about my growth for a little while there. You know, after my first couple of years, I was just kind of hovering. I'd be in the top 15, or, you know, I was number 6. That's cool. I really was really proud of that. And then I went to a CNE training, the Certified Negotiation Expert. And if you guys haven't taken a course, that is the only course I would ever recommend anyone to take. Unfortunately, it's not a board course, although they're changing how you can do courses that aren't and get credit for them. Yeah. Suze Cumming runs the Nature of Real Estate, and she certifies realtors across Canada. She goes back and forth, coast to coast, year-round, doing this. And then there's a MCN course, which is Master Certified Negotiation Expert. And the first course, I was like a moth to a flame listening to this woman speak, because I have been to all of the different ones, and I'm not going to slag any other trainers or coaches, but nothing really spoke to me. They talked about how many pop-bys, or how many times did you knock on a door, how many calls did you make this week. It was all about numbers, and how many days off did you take, and, you know, this is how many deals. And that's not who I am. I love to travel. We don't have kids. I take a lot of time off. And first thing out of Suze's mouth was she was talking about going to Alaska on a month-long holiday, and when she was a very successful realtor in Toronto, and her clients would say, but I want to list my house next week. And she's like, I understand that. I'm really sorry. So if you want to wait until August, I'm happy to help you, or not. And they'd be like, oh, people want what they can't have. So they would wait for her. And that was like a mindset shift for me, that I don't have to be available 24 hours a day, always at everyone's beck and call at the cost of my own self. So, you know, setting some boundaries and taking care of yourself is really important. But so I did the CNE training, I did the MCNE training, and Suze has a coaching program called The Nature of Real Estate. And if you guys were all here for Adil's talk, he and I started coaching with Suze at the exact same time. So we went from like number 4, number 6 in the office to number 1 and number 2 in the office that year. Continued coaching with Suze. We were number 1 and 2 in the office the next year, but we were number 6 and 7 in British Columbia for Royal LePage Individual Realtors. And then we both started teams this last year, and we were the number 1 and number 2 team. It's always edging me out. But it's been amazing, because we have completely different business models, different client base, different, you know, strengths, and yet somehow the coaching with Suze has really helped both of us. And I think a big part of it is the training with her wasn't about numbers and how many calls did you make. It was about mindset. Because I really struggled for a while on Burke, thinking, oh, God, the demographic that's moving out there is never going to want to work with me. Like, why do they want this girl? And having to get over that and understanding that it's not about, you know, being this type of realtor for this culture or this group. It's, this is the service you provide, and why wouldn't they want to work with you? And it really changed how I approach people up there, who I gave my attention to, and it's been great. So yeah, I will coach with Suze till the day I die, and she's become a very close friend, and we have a mastermind group, because there's nothing better than really sharing with peers, and so I'm in a mastermind group with like a RE/MAX agent from Delta and people in Whistler, and across Canada and sharing a lot of ideas. It's been really interesting to have a different perspective from other people that are also in the industry that are doing what you're doing. So yes, coaching is very important, but you have to find the coach that works for you. And it's an investment in yourself, and we don't do enough of that in this business. We're constantly thinking everything's a cost, but those investments do pay returns over time. But it is, you've got to be patient as well. It's a long process, and changing your mindset and changing how you approach things doesn't happen overnight. So, hi.
Can you talk about your charitable giving back?
Sure. Well, this kind of ties in with conferences too and networking. I never used to go to Royal LePage conferences because I used to think, oh God, well, the Leah Baines of the world that goes to everything, she knows everyone. Why would anyone want to refer anything to me? They already have Leah in Port Coquitlam. I'm like, they don't need anyone else. And there's a few realtors in our office that do those conferences, and so I never used to go. And then the Royal LePage Shelter Foundation, our national charity, they put forth this new initiative in 2015, and they were going to try it just once, and they partnered with this company called Charity Challenge, and they were going to do a Machu Picchu challenge for shelters. So it was a 50-kilometer trek through the Lares Valley in Peru to Machu Picchu with a group of realtors from across Canada. You had to raise a minimum of $5,000 in order to be able to go. And I was like, oh my God, this is so up my alley. Like, okay, I'm in, I don't care. Corey, I'm going, okay. And they had such an incredible response, so they opened up spots. So Corey actually got to come as well. So he and I that year had to raise $1,000 to go. And I met these realtors from across Canada, and there was us, so there's 20-something in our group. And the bonding experience was unlike anything else I've ever experienced, and people were breaking down crying. It was so close. You can't hate each other. I was hiking with the #1 realtor in Canada, and she's 70 at the time, and she's like suffering. She was really sick on the whole trail, and it was amazing to see the determination of this woman in her 70s, like climbing up the gringo killer. Well, she's so sick, and she's like led the pack. She's incredible, and I call her a friend now. And how else would I ever be the #1 realtor in Canada and have that kind of connection? And not just like, can you tell me your secret? Like, I don't know. Like, we actually got to spend all of this real serious time, hours together on the trail, and I just fell in love. And I was like, well, I'm going to a conference because I have to see my friends again. I have to see all the people. So I went to my first conference in 2016 only, actually. And it was like this little mini class reunion, and it's just like a family. So of course then I have to go to the next one because I got to see all my friends again. And we really started this wave of charitable giving and fundraising because the next year, 2017, we did the Iceland shelter, and there was 90 of us, and we raised over $650,000 for shelter. It was a 150-kilometer trek through the lava field in Iceland, and that was the most miserable / amazing experience of my life. And again, you're connecting with these people. So we really started to think about how this funding and donating to important causes really connect you with other people that are like-minded. And it brought us to a place where we were thinking about our clients as well. Like, okay, I have connected with realtors now, and we have this bond. So how can we connect that to the client piece? And one of the things we started last year was a program called Closing with Kindness. I don't know what you guys, but I always struggled with closing gifts. Like, do you want a knife with their name on it? Like, I had some at the beginning of my career, and now they all have the wrong last name. So I got married, and now I'm like, want a knife? Can't have those on. And then like, baskets, and you're like, this is $100 for some crackers. I don't know. And then when you're dealing with clients with a beautiful home, do I give you a basket with a clock and a blanket that maybe doesn't match your decor? And I struggled every single time with what to buy somebody as a gift, and especially when they're writing you a commission check, and then you're like, here's $100 to a restaurant. Like, nothing ever sat right with me. And I also feel like they don't want like a crappy token gift from their realtor. They want great service, and they want to know that you did this. So we started Closing with Kindness, and so I donate a percentage of every commission check to the Royal LePage Shelter Foundation, and then on top of that, we donate $250 to the charity of our client's choice. And so we donated with my Shelter Foundation stuff, over $40,000 last year to charity. And incredible foundations that way, and really connect with clients because there are things that are really important to them. So whether their kids' school pack, or it's, we've contributed to a camp for kids that have lost their parents to illness, or things like that. Foundations and charities that you would never know, and the clients are so appreciative because if they're in a position where they can afford to be buying or selling a beautiful home, they've got enough money to take themselves out for dinner, probably. And so that restaurant gift card to Milestones just sits in their wallet for a year. But contributing to a charity or to something that's important to their heart really connects them back to you. And it's been so well received. And no one can get mad at you for donating to charity. They can get mad at you and say this is a cheap bottle of wine, but they can't get mad about supporting something that they really believe in. And it's been a huge thing for us. I mean, sure, business-wise, it's a really positive thing, but it's really good. That we're fortunate in our business and to be able to support these charities has been really rewarding. Anybody have any other questions? Anything you guys want to hear about?
What do you tell your clients in this market?
What do I tell my clients in this market? Buyers or sellers? Well, honestly, this is an incredible market for getting up. So if you bought more than 4 years ago and you're thinking about buying, you are making money. This is your chance. And truly, sellers and buyers, nobody can time top of the market. This is reality. I am really working hard and manage to clear a lot of them off. I won't take a crazy overpriced listing. It's only going to cost you money in this market, and they're going to blame you when it doesn't sell. And so really, really helping them understand. And I know it's really hard when you feel like you really need that deal, and you're not comfortable just letting it walk out the door because the next guy will take it at the overprice, and what if kind of creeps in. But we all know the what if doesn't happen. I had a listing that was, it ended up, we were the same, and then these guys kept reducing, and we ended up being like $150,000 higher than an identical home, same floor plan, same year, same development. And they're like, well, maybe. I'm like, why would anybody pay $150,000 more for your house when this one, 4 doors down, is exactly the same, and they're offering a bonus? So you have to be firm. You have to in your market and know more than that are just looking on MLS. They're not seeing actuals. They're not seeing that house that says it was listed for 3 weeks is actually listed for 9 months. You've got to look in the history. You've got to be prepared with examples, and you've got to be curious. And again, that kind of comes back to some of my coaching training. Is I used to be, the reaction, you get like told to the clients are kind of, they know more than you, or and then the sellout creeps in, or they want to grind your commission because it's a crappy market. You want to take it. You've got to be curious and ask them why. So don't be afraid to ask the questions. So I'm curious why you feel like home is worth this, and help them come to that conclusion. Being curious has made me a lot of money in this business because our initial gut is to be reactionary or to answer or to challenge or debate, and it never works. So being armed with your knowledge and then being curious and helping your sellers come to that conclusion has been really helpful. But in this market, I am telling sellers, listen, if they say to me, we don't need to sell, great, let's not list it. You want clients that need to sell. And work out some scenarios where if they bought their house for this, and now we're here, and you're going to lose this much money. Lose is a relative term, right? They've already made this much money. And the place they want to buy is now this price. They are making the money. This is their opportunity to trade up. And you can create yourself a couple of sheets with some real hard examples on paper so they can see it if you're not just talking in general terms. Those kind of tools are helpful. Sometimes if you're about maybe forgetting these examples or not having that information at the tip of your tongue when you go to that listing appointment, or you're talking with somebody that doesn't want to do a price reduction or doesn't want to do something, remind them of the big picture, remind them of the end goal. Again, our clients, these guys that wanted to move to West Van. Well, there's no better time to trade from Coquitlam to West Vancouver than right now. Hot market, right? The price is going to be even crazy. West Van is taking a beating right now, and you got to find people that need to sell. You're going to take a smaller hit here, be able to reach your end goal, getting your kid in school you want in West Vancouver. Then now is the time, and let's not focus on the loss. Let's focus on the gain. And easier said than done for sure. And that's why I say maybe having a couple of examples is really helpful for when you sit down in those meetings, and you can really, outline that in hard numbers for clients. Anyone else?
What do you do with clients as far as keeping in touch with them?
We have a pretty extensive CRM system that does market reports. So once a month they get an automated email from me that gives them all the kind of stats in their neighborhood. So if they've moved to a new neighborhood, we update it so that Siri is listening to me. She doesn't understand. So they get that monthly drip. They get a birthday card, handwritten birthday card from me. They get a gingerbread house at Christmas time, personalized with their name on it. They get invited to, depending on where they live, to clients' events. Yeah, we have quite a few touches. I'm trying to think of, am I forgetting anything?
You ventured away from Morris, you said, why was that?
Because I didn't like that people were getting that preferred client update from so many realtors. And so we also do a monthly email newsletter as well. People are more digital now. So I do the handwritten birthday card because I think a personal touch is important. They want to know that it's not totally automated. So they get a scratch when they get a birthday card. And then the monthly email newsletter, they get an e-blast for sure, so that everyone that's not on Burke Mountain that's getting my newsletter, the community market report, they get an email. But the market report, market updates that show them the numbers and the stats is just like set it and forget it. People really like that. They respond to it, they ask questions, and it really helps when you go to talk to them that they already kind of have an idea of what's happening in the market.
Sure. What CRM are you using?
It's called Brivity. It is not cheap. Brivity, Brivity. Corey discovered it. It's based out of Washington, Bellingham, Washington, and we were early adopters. Eric Valley in New West is one of the owners of it, actually, I think, and he uses it quite extensively. They built our website for us, Permack and Associates, and they have it's quite a robust system, but it's not cheap. It's not cheap. So unless you have a lot of money to spare right now, it's not one to dive into. And I honestly, I'm fortunate that I've got Corey to do a lot of that research for me and figure out what works. But the whole point of a CRM is just to use it, right? So as long as you have a system that works for you, use the system, but have a system. Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, Cora used to say, if you had a Rolodex of business cards, use that. You have an Excel spreadsheet, you have something, but you have to use it and stick with it. And I get in trouble for not using it enough, so that's why I put it on my support team to help me with that. But it's the one thing, being consistent, like the follow-up is amazing. People think, even if you do forget about them for 4 or 6 months, don't get too late, you can't never call them again. I fell into that trap for a long time. And we got an idea this year from one of the founders of Brivity that put up a little video and said, send your clients a 9-word email, it was called. And it wasn't exactly 9 words, but it was basically like, hey, Bob, how are you doing? Just want to know if you have any real estate plans for 2019. Send. And I was terrified to send it to some clients I hadn't talked to in 6 years, and I was like, oh my God, okay, gonna send it, and then push send, and of all the people that replied, all the people I hadn't spoken to were the ones that got back to me. It was amazing, and I was like, this is incredible, and they were so happy to hear from me, and so now they're back in my rotation. You know, those early clients, like when you start out in this business, you just get so busy working on your deals that you forget about those deals once they're done, and you're scared to talk to them again because you think that they're going to be mad at you. They're never mad at you, and they're really happy to hear from you. So even 10 years in the business, that was at the beginning of 2019. I was like, and I got clients saying, not this year, but early 2020, we're moving to the interior. So I've like hooked them up with 3 different realtors in the interior that they're the area that they about sending them information, and so they're going to be clients when it's time to sell next year. But if I hadn't sent that email, they were listed and sold, and I would have never seen them again. So it's never too late to reach out to past clients, and the worst thing that can happen is they say, oh, we already moved or we bought, and then you can clean out your inbox. But yeah, it was a really helpful task. That was really interesting. Anybody else?
Other questions?
What kind of client events do you do?
We do the Easter egg hunt, which has become a big client event on Burke Mountain. There's over 1,000 kids there. We turned it into a fundraiser for the Shelter Foundation as well, so we raised over $9,000 this year. So that one, all of my local clients come to, and even some of my clients are out of Burke Mountain because they have kids, so they come. We do the pumpkin giveaway. I do a scholarship as well program for kids on Burke Mountain, so I do that. We have tried in the past to do different versions of like client parties and things. It's not always like you know, different realtors do different things. I don't do a big party. I don't do a movie night. I don't do a skating day. Those are all awesome ideas, but I feel like they're done. So we do more, you know, just kind of the one-on-one client outreach. I try to do more lunches and coffees and really stay in touch that way. Yeah, so not a lot. I don't do a ton of like events. We organize the trivia night for you guys. Come to trivia night, fundraiser for Shelter. Yeah, so no, I don't do big client parties per se. The Easter egg hunt takes a lot out of us every year, and delivering gingerbread houses takes a lot. So we do that and try to spend that quality one-on-one with people, because not everyone will come out to a party, and you can miss some of your like important clients and special people because they can't get a babysitter, or they don't have kids and they don't want to come to a kid party. Like there's no one-size-fits-all client event, I find. So I like to personalize it.
For the gingerbread houses,
Yeah.
do you guys do those as, like, do you set up an appointment to go by their house and bring it to them? Do you pop by with it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do reverse? They come to you?
No, I pop by. I load up areas. We kind of geographically plan our route and start driving around. Condos are the worst because you can't just leave it. So sometimes with condo people, I will just do wine because you can't, like, the gingerbread house is going to keep, and if you can't connect with them before Christmas, you know, even January, you're like, here's your Christmas gingerbread house.
Don't eat it.
They're still really good. But yeah, so we pop by. We do pop by. I will let people know, and we also post a lot on social media saying we're going to be out delivering gingerbread houses, so my clients that have had it for a few years, they kind of start to expect you, and it's very well received. And it's good, you gotta like, team up, because I could be at one person's house for 3 hours and deliver 2 houses, and we've got 100 and something to send, and it's a lot, but it's pretty impactful. And we have it's like an edible logo. It's got their client's name on it, so they know it was for them. It's not just Happy Holidays. And so we put a lot of thought and effort into it, and it's really appreciated. And it's got good staying power because people don't want to eat it, so they will eat it. One guy like opens it up, starts eating it while I'm still standing at the door. But a lot of people, they've got it as a centerpiece, or they keep it there for the whole holiday season. Someone's building a village, so she's keeping them there up here. Gingerbread doesn't go bad, and it's kind of funny. So everybody's like, I mean, it's still like our logo, and they think of me every year when they put that out there, and that's what you want, right? Something that has staying power is always kind of key. So what I found, whether it's a gingerbread house or not, something that's personalized and that you've thought about your clients is kind of the most important thing. You put some effort in. Yeah.
When do you usually drop them off? What's the best time to pop by?
Oh, I found weekend early days, lots of people are home. Evenings are a weird one. People are like really, really concerned with security, and I've gone on like Friday at 6 o'clock, and they're like, "Who is it?" And they're like terrified to open their front door and got the alarm. Wow. So you try to do either midweek, early evening, or weekend, early days, midday, just because people seem to be home. But I do find that evenings after dark it gets tough, especially in December. Nobody wants to answer the door. Everyone's scared. So that kind of goes the same for Popeyes or for door knocking, right? The weekend, early day time is probably your most successful.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Do you personally deliver the children?
I do. Yes. I bring my chauffeur. Corey drives me around. I jump out and knock on those doors.
So is it a long time for you to deliver?
Yes. But you know what? We for the amount of effort that you can put into trying to get new clients, and you're like trying to market yourself, and you're doing this program and this online thing, and you're spending all this money and effort advertising yourself, when your best advertising is the clients you've already had a great experience with and done a good deal with. So go and spend that, 10 minutes, 15 minutes per client. What is 15 minutes of your time versus having to pay for another flyer that's just going to get thrown in the garbage? So that was a bit of a turn for us in the last few years. It was really spending more energy and more effort connecting and staying connected with our clients that we've already worked with. So that's why the CRM has become such a big, important piece of our business, because you've already got them. So why just let them go to go focus on the new guys? Like, keep your warm clients, keep them happy, keep them remembering you, and they're going to recommend you. So we want to put more investment and more effort into the people we've already worked with, and that grows. Like, you might, if you're a new agent, you don't have a lot of those people. Treat them like rock stars. Treat them like gold. Yes. It's a Panda.
And what did Corey do?
P&A, Permack and Associates. Yes.
What did Corey do when you were in the house for 3 hours? Because you're driving around.
What I what?
What did Corey
I
do?
don't go to the house for 3 hours. That's why Corey drives me around, because if I went by myself, they're like, come in, have a drink. You can't do it. So it's good to say, just wanted to spend some holiday cheer. You guys are the best. Here you go, enjoy. He got stuck a couple of times at the 20-minute, half-hour visits, and he's just, where is she? But that's you try and balance. So I learned that from Leah when they used to go and deliver their hot chocolates. They said you keep the car running, one person goes, the other person's in the car, or you'll never get through it. Especially when you've got your client base grows and you've got a lot more deliveries to make. It was easier in years past with fewer people, for sure. Now you gotta break it up into a few days and hammer out your goal, because there's a deadline. When you've got gingerbread houses, you got to do it before Christmas, or they go in the garbage, and that's a lot of money to throw away.
Could you share about the time that you start delivering and when will you be finished?
It all depends on the baker. So I work with a lady that she's a mom, stay-at-home mom, home-based business, and she cranks those things out. She makes them for me, and there's a few realtors that and corporate businesses. So it kind of depends on her, but we usually get them the first week of December, and it takes me a couple of weeks. It takes a couple of weeks because you've got limited time. Yeah, it's going to be extra tough this year with the show home. I'm going to have to block off some time to show home. Yeah. Cascades, yeah. Cascades. Yeah, she's lovely. Yeah.
How did you come to develop your relationships with builders and developers?
So I got really lucky. The first one, I was away on vacation, and I got this email from this guy that lived on Burke Mountain, and he had been getting my newsletter for 5 years, and said, "We want you to come and interview for this." And I was like, "Okay, I'll be home in 2 days." And I went and met with them, and we met at Starbucks, and I was so jet lagged because I was in the Middle East, traveling for a month, and I was like, couldn't remember my middle name, never mind what I had sold in the past. So we met up though, and I had a great interview, and then followed up, and they wanted someone at the time. They were young up and comers, bold properties now. They've gone from working at a home office to AAA office based downtown, and they wanted someone young that could grow with them. So they gave me a chance, and that first project was really like helping them come up with a logo, like right from scratch. And we were successful there. I had connected because of us soliciting for donations from Morningstar, so they had hired me to sell a couple of their last home, because they moved their sales guy to a new project, and so they would have me sell 1 or 2 homes, and so that kind of got my foot in the door. And then I did this sold 3 single family homes on Burke. And that was incredible. And then Nora was this year. They work as special work on special work. We know each other. They're a dominant company. The mom is the boss. The 2 daughters were selling, and they wanted a female realtor to sell for them because they wanted to move out of sales and into development. Ultimately, that actually didn't work for me. We were there from December through to April of this year and gave our notice because they weren't adjusting to market conditions, just like some of our single-family homeowners. And the commission we would be earning for the amount of work that was still to come with no sales to show for it was not worth me sitting another day at that show home when I could be out generating other activities. So I gave up 14 single-family home potential sales for my own sanity. Because if you factor the dollars per hour for the amount of time we had spent there, I was like, gonna go broke, sitting there, waiting for people to show up. And then so happened that Intracorp company that I'm selling at Alto now for Intracorp, the president of Bold Properties went to university with one of the finance guys at Intracorp and introduced me to the sales manager. And I interviewed with them several times throughout an entire year. And then they said, yeah, we want you. But Intracorp's a really special business because they jump into a market, they sell one project, they want a local, hyper-local team that understands the community that they're selling in. They don't have their in-house team that doesn't know anything about Coquitlam. They want someone that knows where the schools are, what's happening, how far is the SkyTrain. And so I got really lucky because of that connection with Bold. But it literally all started with a newsletter to Burke Mountain, my farm. And so I say I got lucky, but it was like, like I said, 5 years of just spending money. You don't know who's looking.
Right. So when you're working with Intracorp, do you have to stay in their show home?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one for me because I don't have a desire to be a show home employee forever, right? That's not my plan. That wasn't my goal. But you recognize in a market like this that if you're going to spend your time working for a company that has $250,000 marketing budget and they have a reputation for not sitting on standing injury, they're making big price adjustments. Where the other one, they were happy to let me sit there all day. They didn't care. The price is the price. If someone comes, great. But these guys are like, they're a very well-oiled machine. And in this slow market, it's really helpful to be able to get up every day, get dressed, go and do real estate activities, pick up that phone. We made over 3,000 phone calls since we started with Intracorp in January, just every day. They watch the interactions. The president of the company is watching how many interactions we're doing at the sales center. So I've got my team there now, so I can rotate out. I'm not there every day. But it is a bit of a struggle. So it's a double-edged sword. I'm really happy having those business activities, talking to people about real estate, staying in that real estate mode, not just lying on my couch depressed because my phone's not ringing and we're not doing any business because we all know how tough it is out there right now. It's not costing me anything but time, which is a really helpful thing. But it does come at a cost of feeling like, I want to go for lunch with this client and I can't because I've got to be here until 5. And that's a struggle. Not everybody can manage that. I got out of the 9 to 5 because I wanted to be in charge of my own schedule and have that flexibility. And it does require an adjustment. There are commitments that you've got to balance. So fortunately, having Carolyn and Sonia there to kind of pick up the slack or cover, we work with each other to help. So we can take vacations and can take time off, but it's not easy. For sure, it's not easy, and it's not a long-term goal to stay working in a show home forever. My goal would be to have the team. I'll go be the rainmaker, get the business, and then have my super competent sales team in there. Basically selling 70 townhomes. You can't complain about that.
Okay, so you do have interview and actually got hired by the show home.
Yeah, by the developer. Yeah. And we have a sub-agency, sub-brokerage contract with them, basically. So they are Intracorp Realty Limited is the brokerage for that development, and then we have a sub-brokerage agreement with them, with Royal LePage. Yeah, pre-sale is good if you're like want to make those phone calls and you're happy, spending your days. But it's not like the ultimate thing. And a lot of developments, it depends on the builder. They'll make you pay for a lot of stuff. They want to lean on the realtors to pay for a bunch of stuff. And they'll also look at, you could invest all those hours. Like I said, we've made over 3,000 phone calls, and there's another development in Port Moody. They just fired the whole sales team. Start again. And it's not the sales team's fault. It's this market, right? And they're not doing enough, and it's their terrible location by the train tracks in an industrial neighborhood. And they think that a new realtor is going to make a difference. It's not. So yeah, but so it's a bit of high risk, high reward. You give up a lot of freedom. I was assuming at the time, like a year ago, when I was talking, this project would take 6 months, and it's going to be over a year for sure, at least, possibly longer. So for now, it's great because it's not costing me $1, and the business is coming, and people are there, and they're willing to consider offers. But it's not easy to spend your whole day kind of sitting there, hoping someone will come and buy something. Anyone else? Yeah.
What would you say is the best way for someone to provide additional marketing efforts when it's free or paid to your listing property, besides just listing on MLS?
Right. Well, first of all, I turn the lights on when you take pictures of listings. It's a pet peeve of mine. So additional marketing efforts, like number one, just get good photography, do good video. Your paid Facebook campaigns where you can target, like really sit down and look at where do we think buyers are coming from for this neighborhood, for this product. Is it a townhouse on Brick Mountain? Maybe they're coming from the Plateau, maybe they're coming from Burnaby, Poco condos, I don't know. And you can do some target advertising that's inexpensive, but it'll also not only promote the property to people that are looking, because you can target really specifically, but it's, again, gets your brand out there, your image, and you want to be consistent with those types of things so people recognize you. I've had people say to me, I have never read a single word of your newsletter, but I need your name and phone number. That's all I want. So I for sure, your social media campaigns, having a real strategy and trying to stick with it. It's not easy, but systems now you can schedule out your, hashtag Throwback Thursdays, or Testimonial Tuesdays, or whatever those things are, so that you're having a consistent online presence that helps yourself and your listing at the same time. So I think a lot of people don't do enough of that. What else? I know it's hard if you're not selling a lot and you're feeling the pinch, but I'm a big believer in the higher the quality of the materials you're providing, the higher the perception of quality of the thing you're trying to sell. And other Deluga. Ugly black and white this or cheap MLS sheets, that doesn't work. You're presenting yourself, you're marketing yourself as well as your listings when you're selling listings. So full color, glossy, professional photographs. Get your video tours done, get floor plans done. Cost money, but it's putting in the effort. It pays dividends because then people see that and they're holding on to that. It's got more staying power, and they're going to remember that you do high quality work. And we do that in the hottest market and the slowest market for the most expensive property to the lowest price mobile home. It doesn't matter because it's a reflection on us as a team, not just the product that we're selling. Oh yeah, staging. So I have a 10x10 storage locker now that's full of all of this stuff. You kind of accumulate over time. And so we offer a full staging program for all the small stuff. So all the artwork, the bath towels, the decor items, those little things. And we've got a crib that we can make a baby's room. And we've got a desk so we could do a little office. I don't have couches and beds. But we can offer that and save our clients, a big budget, or they won't do it, but we just offer to do it. It makes a huge difference. The property looks so much better. And then we can, you can rent furniture to do stuff. Really helpful. Yeah.
So you offer free staging?
I do. I used to just pay for a staging consult. I'd have a stager come in because I felt like the message was better received from just a home stager than from me. because they're like, oh, you're just the realtor, you know, we're the stager, this is their whole career. And that was $125, $150 a pop. But she was just telling them to like clear your countertops, take up this rug, declutter this, and okay, it's an easy message. We can one big piece of steps roll on a team as a client specialist, she'll come in and give them that checklist as well. So now we can stage, so we offer that, and clients are really thrilled. Like they, if this is how they're living, they also don't necessarily know how to stage a home for sale. And how you live and how you sell are two very different things when you're in your own home. So we try to take as much of that stuff away from them as possible. We help coordinate handyman, carpet cleaning, home cleaners, if that's what they need. Like, we try to be as full service as we can and offer that to our clients. I don't roll everything. Sometimes you have to pay for certain things, but we coordinate for them so that it actually gets done, because otherwise we all know it doesn't always get done. So I find that it's helping myself sell their home. I'm helping myself by having great photos. I'm helping myself by having a staged property. It's going to make my job easier to sell that home when it's staged. Mary always like doing the like always look staged, always look good, and we put a lot of effort into that because it's just going to eliminate those challenges down the road with my right. So having a handyman come through early, patch, paint, those little details. It just eliminates one more roadblock during the home inspection. And in this kind of market, if you've got a buyer that wants to buy, you need to make sure that you are doing everything you can to get them over that line. And if supporting your client and it's going to cost you $200 to get a handyman to come in, spend the $200. Help your sellers reach their goals. Help them get that sale so that they can now be a buyer and you can go represent them and do the same thing on the other side. You ready to say something else?
Yeah, well, it's still about staging.
Sure.
So you don't have all the big furnitures. Would you rent them if you provided full staging?
Yes. So we have clients with homes. If you're selling someone's home, they don't usually need beds or couches, right? I'm not doing like the crazy, like let's get rid of all your furniture, bring in this show home style and go with that. We'll stage their furnished homes. And then when you have a vacant home, we've done a few things. So as I mentioned, we have a crib and a little chair. We can set up a baby room really well. We have it set up like a home office, and then we'll rent usually furniture. So you can rent furniture. I'll give away all my secrets and go rent all my furniture, and that'll be available when I want to rent it. You can call me to really want to know. So we will rent. For that, because it does help. A vacant property, I find the client will walk in and be like, what's this? It's right there. Because your eye needs to be drawn to something, they'll find the one imperfection in the room and focus on it. And rooms are only when they're vacant. So we try to give clients something to focus on, and furniture is what we do. It's very helpful. Yes? Way cheaper. The home stagers are going to charge you a couple $1,000, and they are renting the furniture from the same place I am. So I just skip the line. Probably later.
I will give one little staging tip.
Yes.
Air mattresses.
Air mattresses are great.
Air mattresses on bankers boxes, a long bed skirt.
Yeah.
Save yourself thousands of dollars in the long run with it, and people can't help with it.
Yeah, until you have someone's kid jump on it.
Yeah, you got to put a note or something on it.
Nice little card.
Yeah.
We've done the air mattress thing a few times. Yeah.
I'm missing something. What's that?
Air mattress on bankers boxes. They just have a long skirt. It looks like a bed.
Oh, I see.
You just raise it up on boxes so it's a bed. You make it like a bed. Definitely, that is one option. We have done that more than one occasion.
Still in my kids.
Yeah. Working at a show home, it's amazing what people will let their children do, so you need to be very careful. Yeah, I've seen it all. Oh, smash, what's that? Oh, my kids upstairs. Broken lamps. Whatever. Anyone else have any questions? Staging, marketing. Other marketing things, it is really just getting the message out there as many ways as you can. Good write-ups. Great photos. Everybody's looking at photos. If there's no photo, they're going to skip that list. MLS, is one thing, but using other listing portals, we've done some things, realestate.tv, we're not huge fans, but it does syndicate to Zhuwai, which is a Chinese MLS, and Youku, which is a Chinese YouTube. Listings been translated into Mandarin. Is that selling houses now? I don't know, but it's a service that the sellers like to see because they think, because of the news headlines, that it is. So we do that one, but that's more, like I said, just to make our sellers happy, because I don't think that's where the buyers are coming from. The buyers are local. You know, at least for my properties, they are. For my listings, most of the buyers are local.
Are you still flyering your neighborhood? Like,
Yeah, I don't stop.
Every month?
You know, it's a really interesting thing. Real estate, as I mentioned, as we all know, is a cycle. And realtors do two things. They work in their butts off on marketing, flyers, they get to the top, they're like, crap, I'm so busy, and they focus in on their business. And then they start going down because now they've sold everything, and now they're like, oh my god, I don't have any more business. And then they fire up the machine again, and then they do that, right? And so that's the never-ending cycle that a lot of people get caught doing. And I understand that. If you're working for yourself, and you are the marketing guy, and the sales guy, and the paperwork person, and everything, it's tough to be consistent. And that's why I say, like, even for social media, using a scheduling system where you can block out your whole year if you wanted to, if you have enough pictures to do that. But what happens in a hot market is realtors stop advertising their listings because they're like, it's going to sell in 2 days, who cares, right? And so they pull back on their marketing budget because they know it's going to sell. And then in a slow market, when they're like, oh my god, this is really expensive, I don't have any money, they pull back on marketing again. So the only time they really do it is in that rise and then on the down when they're in their average cycle. We stay consistent throughout the year. Coca-Cola, I want drip, drip, drip. I want everyone to remember me so that when this thing starts turning around, they have been seeing only my flyers for the last 6 months, the last 8 months, because everyone else stopped.
So what are you doing? Like, what are you putting on your flyer? What kind of information are you doing?
So I don't do like just listed so much anymore. We do a monthly newsletter with kind of all of our staff. It's got, like, it's pre-done for me. I don't know anything about it. So it's got a community corner. It's got a piece on the market, and it's got some did you know, or I don't know, home.
So it's an flyer.
It's like this big, full color, double-sided. So that just happens. I don't even think about that one, right? And then for our e-newsletter, we're doing, a quick snapshot on the stats, because everybody wants to know the numbers. We do general interest articles, and we'll do some stuff that our team's been up to, either fun activities, or we've been on a trip, or we just hosted this Easter egg hunt event, raised all this money for shelter, something like that. It's just like a feel-good, top-of-mind piece.
I live in a high-rise, and I'm just amazed every mail day how many realtor cards are stacked up, thrown into the trash that nobody even takes up to their condo.
That's right.
It's just really, like, it's a waste for one thing, environmentally, so I kind of struggle with it.
Yeah. Well,
I get what you're saying.
The flyers that I was just, like, the geographic farming flyer, I will never stop, because that got me 33 single-family homes on right now, and then I will never stop. It's just something that happens. By sending out to a different farm, or I love it. I don't care. We're looking at doing other things. I would rather put more money in our online presence, our digital marketing now. So a lot more paid Instagram, Facebook, a lot more of the social media stuff where Corey's focusing more effort, and we're kind of picking back on some of that. We were trying to support a realtor, and we don't know. And then, but just not stopping. You can't stop. That's the key, and it's really hard to do because it sucks. I mean, you guys see how many empty bus benches are around right now? Like, everyone's pulling back their budget. But when things turn around and someone's ready to look at a realtor, if you've just been MIA for 6 months.
So your geographic Brook Mountain, do you do all of Brook Mountain? How many houses is that? Or do you
Our newsletter now, is it over 3,000? 3,200 homes? 3,500 homes? Yeah, it's grown from 363 when I started. That's why the cost of my mailer has grown so much.
when you're saying geographic farm areas, if you pick an area, you do that whole.
You can do whatever you want. Some people do one street, one building, one block. Like, it's really up to you. You want to be the, like, Avondale street expert. be that expert. There's no, I mean, Bergtown has grown. I didn't choose to start at 3,500 homes. That's a big number. But now I also don't want to let anyone else start farming that. So every time they announce kind of a new community, where we jump on it. You know, we have, and I know what the OCP says, and I know the neighborhood, so I'm constantly, okay, oh, this new neighborhood that they're having public consultation about, Corey's like, bought the domain. It's more of an offense now than anything, or defense, I guess, to keep other realtors from starting a niche for that pocket, or whatever. And some people have different things, but, you know, we didn't start at 3,500 homes, we started at 300, and it's just grown. So, you can hit one condo building and be a pro, you know. There's ways possible. I mean, Sonia on our team, she just sold a condo in Glen and got 2 backup offers on it at a time, and she wrote a handwritten note to every terminated, canceled, expired listing in that building. Hey, I just sold this home in your building. Are you still thinking about selling? Like, that goes a long way, that kind of stuff. And these are the activities we've got time to do right now. What else you got to do? You know, nothing but time. And I think that's the thing we forget, because you get tired, you're on your couch, you're like, Right? You put in the hours now, and it pays off huge. So these are the opportunities in this low market when you really learn how to grind, that when it comes time, when you're smoking busy, you can actually keep up. Because if you're not used to the speed and the volume of the work, it's really overwhelming when it does get busy. So try and keep yourself busy. That's like the big piece of this slow market, is keep yourself busy, keep doing the activities, keep talking about real estate, keep knowledge, keep learning, take courses while you can. You got nothing else to do, take courses. They really help you. And go to conferences, network. My God, I've had 3 referrals this week from realtors from Ontario, from North Vancouver, from Ottawa. It's been phenomenal. And it's like a whole other tap that so many people forget, or timid. It makes you expensive. I can't tell you how worth it is. Like, I'm obsessed. I'm on the Head Start committee, so if you guys want to go to Head Start, that's in September in Kamloops. It's a West Coast conference. It's going to be phenomenal. And it's great networking and so much fun. And you can't underestimate the value of having realtors as friends across this country, because they will do so much for you to send you business. Like, someone in one of our top 2 groups looked for a realtor in Port Moody. I had like 6 realtors from all around saying, talk to Rebecca. And then the realtor messaged me and said, I had 4 direct messages from other realtors saying, you're the best. Like, I have to give this listing to you. Amazing. And they're just people I partied with in Halifax. Like, you're really good at drinking beer and you make money in this business. It's awesome at all those events, because you know it's great connections that you make. And there's all different types of people out. So there's different people for different people, and that's where I had that roadblock where I thought, well, the Port Coquitlam market has been cornered by these 3 realtors that have been going to conference for 20 years, but that's not true. And you'll, make your friends and you make your connections, and it's an awesome experience, and you learn a lot. So that would be something else I would say you guys should do if you have the opportunity.
I have one more question, because I do know there's some of us that are very new, so we might not have that amount of money on marketing budget. So what would you recommend on a low cost end to do some activity?
Well, Facebook advertising for sure, door knocking, open houses for other realtors. I mean, I find it amazing how many realtors have to just beg and offer money for people to do open houses for them. It's crazy. Because buyers are coming. And if they're coming, there's an opportunity there for you. So learning how to work a good open house, if you took a little session, you should be doing that a lot. That's what I did when I started. I was in a terrible market when I started, and I was so at home. Door knocking, open houses, some social media. You can do a ton of free social media, and then you can do a very limited paid budget for marketing. Be consistent, be clean, be consistent. But whatever you do, just be there. Be on top of your camera. Go record videos of yourself talking about different neighborhoods. There's a million things you can do that we have all these ideas, and it's just a question of whether or not you execute on them. Because I'm guilty of that. We have a million ideas with the team, and Corey has like so many things he wants me to do, and I'm like, next week. I didn't wash my hair or something. I don't know. So doesn't matter where, what. You know, if you're doing an open house, do the Tell 20. You guys were really good at that. Do the Tell 20. Open up half an hour earlier for the neighbors. Sneak preview. Invite them to a sneak preview. Make yourself a one-page flyer. Tell them, you know, we know everybody wants to look at houses before, you know, what their neighbors are doing. I'm gonna open up early for you guys. Come check it out. You know, I'll have coffee. Come out. You know, whatever. Just talk to people about real estate. That's the key. Don't be afraid. Yeah. I've had the most success with people being home, kind of like late morning, like Saturdays around 11, something like that, 10 or 11. Or I've gone weekdays kind of between 3 and 4, but that's like after school, so you get the moms home. Sometimes it's chaotic. You know, it's kind of hit and miss, and that's where I feel like I've been lucky when I haven't been in a while. Guilty. But, you know, I have that a little bit of a warm connection already now because I'm always only working in my farm, you know. But if I have also done a sale in an area that's seemed to be really popular, I got a lot of calls of people coming, then like Sonia has gone and just blanketed that neighborhood on a Saturday instead of doing an open house. She'll go door knock the whole afternoon instead of doing an open. So she's done kind of mid-afternoons. Tony's a door knocking king. What time do you find is good?
I don't like to work 6 o'clock, schedule in school.
Yeah.
So you go on weekends is really good.
Weekends
You're
is
watching
the
the car
best.
there on the side.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I found I've had my best conversations on kind of Saturdays, late morning.
Sure. Just for leaving the judge on.
Yeah. I have my lucky door knocking shoes because I find it really awkward. I'm really nervous to door knock. I hate door knocking. So I have glittery pink sparkle shoes. And so they were my lucky door knocking shoes, and everyone's like, wow, great shoes. And I'm like, they're door knocking shoes. And then it's just kind of your icebreaker. And it seemed to work for me. It was like the thing that got over my fear of doing that. I also found that I needed to have something of value. So I'm not a fan of just knocking on doors saying you consider selling your house. Like, I can't do that. I know lots of people can, I cannot. So I always wanted to say, if I was door knocking, I would do it like we listed a property, but before the sign went up. Hey, it's not like, we just listed your neighbor's home. Or I want to invite you to this thing, or something like I just always wanted to have something that I could talk about rather than just asking someone if they had a home to sell, or that was hard for me. I always felt like I didn't have a reason, but there's always a reason. Everybody wants to talk about real estate. All right.
Good?
Thanks, everybody. If
Thank
you guys
you.
have any other questions you didn't want to ask in the group, or if we haven't met, please reach out. I don't spend a lot of time in the office because we have our home office, and I'm way more productive there because Corey's got his office upstairs, and it's too much to move everything down here. I wouldn't work as much. So please reach out. My phone's always on, my door's always open. Happy to help.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.